Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you a line winder I built. Well, mostly built. Part of it is based off this little spooler here that we have. It's come in from a company called Bees Knees Spooler. They're based out of Australia. Let me see if I can focus that in for you right there. There we go. Their site's called Busted Fishing, but they make a pretty cool little spooler. This is the only one that I've ever seen on the market that actually maintains a consistent drag pressure as you're trying to spool up your big game reels. Usually that's a problem only with braided line, especially when you're tuna fishing or marlin fishing. You need to put this line under pressure. Usually 12 pounds will do it. Otherwise it starts eating into itself and then you end up breaking off the fish. So this thing here, it's let me just show you how it works here. Basically you put on a reel filled with your line as usual, and this mechanism here, so I'm trying to do this one-handed. Obviously these two little cones here lock the spool in place, and they've got ball bearings in them that allow the spool to turn, and as you tighten it, it sets the drag as you need to. So I'm going to set this fairly lightly today because it's just a demonstration, but I'll set this thing up to 15 pounds, no problem. I think after a while it can go as tight as you want, basically until the spool cracks. You know, it's a pretty cool little thing. Then use this little piece of aluminum right here just to lock it in place. As you see here, it's got some good tension on it. It's more than enough to let the line, you know, keep it from digging into itself. Anyway, I went ahead and built the rest of this mechanism. Anything in red you see, except for the reel, is pretty much something I built out of 6061 aircraft grade aluminum. Went ahead and anodized it afterwards just for the fun of it. But as you see, this block that's holding this drill right here is some beefy bar stock. It is, I think, 1/2 inch. And I went ahead and, as you see, mounted it on this piece of plywood. Actually, it's two pieces of plywood that are joined together. I think it's a 3/4 inch piece and a 1/2 inch piece. Let me just go ahead through some of this stuff. Basically, this whole mechanism right here allows the drill to move back and forth. You know, so you can adjust it closer or further from the reel as needed, depending on what type of reel you're spooling up. This little mark right here that you see, that's what happens when you don't use a router correctly and it gets away from you. Little cosmetic defect, just reminds me that I'm not exactly a great craftsman here, but I think it adds some character, or at least that's what I'm going to tell myself. Anyway, as you see here, you guys have probably seen things that look like this all the time. This allows you to adjust the reel up and down, you know, depending on how large it is, and these little mechanisms here will lock it in place. You can also slide them back and forth, so you can move this reel, you know, a little bit more to the front or a little bit more to the back as needed. So it's got some good adjustability here, which I'm kind of happy with. Obviously these kind of clamp this reel holder onto these vertical posts here. So if you want to move it up and down, you can, but I won't do it right now because it takes a little bit of tension to it. I've only got one hand that I'm using right now while holding the camera. Again, as you see, I've been testing this out a little. It's been working pretty well. This little eye bolt, for right now I'm just going to use this to keep this from having the line cut my hand as I try to guide it on. I'll come up with a better mechanism a little bit later on, but for right now this is just, you know, for testing purposes and just to keep my hand from being sliced up. One other thing with this is the reel pedal, or foot pedal, I guess. It's actually built by a company, I think, that build these for dental equipment, if I understand correctly. It's pretty heavy duty. I've ran this thing for quite a while, and it actually does not burn up under the sustained load of this drill. I've had others in the past that I've used, like sewing machine motors, and eventually after about 5 minutes you'll start smelling something burning in the house, and it's usually the foot pedal. So don't use those. Use a high amperage rated foot pedal if you're going to try to do this. Let's see what else about this thing. Oh, just FYI, if this line goes ahead and snaps in the middle of the demonstration, don't freak out, it's not the spooler's fault. It is some old Power Pro that used to be made by the old company, not by Shimano. Shimano came in and pretty much, you know, upgraded that line and added some quality control. This is some old 65 pound that has some weak spots all over this, so I use this line specifically for testing out things like this and just testing, you know, tying knots. That's about all it's good for. I would never use this fishing. So if you see it snap, don't worry about it, we'll just start over. But so I guess that's, oh, one other thing is the Bees Knees itself. I mounted on this block. It's purely for cosmetics. It's just a massive pile of walnut that I had left over from another project. Went ahead and laminated it with some polyurethane, I think. And I just like the way it looks. It's a big sturdy piece of material. That's actually the table shaking, not it. It's just a massive pile of wood that's glued and screwed together. So anyway, we'll go ahead and show you how this works and let you see how this thing operates. So we're going to go ahead and press the foot pedal. See, starts taking line off pretty easily, no real drag. So, as you see, it works pretty well. Those little skips that you see in the line where this thing kind of takes a little bump like that, that's actually not the spooler's fault. Again, it's this old line that I've kind of just, I went ahead and put on this spool in a crisscross fashion. So every once in a while the line will skip all the way over here, causing this to bump down like that. Again, I've used this on new spools of you know, Jerry Brown or other line, like ISO. You know, they come from the factory and they come off as perfectly. So nothing against the spooler, it's just me using some old crappy line that's spooled up pretty badly. But as I said, you know, it keeps consistent drag pressure. I could fill this up all the way, but actually I don't want this line on my reel, so I'm going to have a little bit of a problem stripping this off. I'll go ahead and use the drill to strip it off again, but just wanted to show you guys how it's, you know, how it operates. You know, kind of, you can buy products like this online. I think one's by Smitty, I believe. Not too terribly expensive, but I just wanted to go ahead and see if I could build one. It was actually a lot of fun to build. This allowed me to have some fun working with metal and, you know, anodizing things. But yeah, those are just some extra screws. Those aren't parts falling apart, just FYI. Pretty much everything on this, with the exception of the spooler, the Bees Knees Spooler, is built by me. It's a fun little project. You know, it'll take you a few weekends depending on your skill level, but something you can be proud of, and it's actually useful. Hopefully when tuna season comes around, it'll save me from spooling up, you know, 5 big game reels that hold 700 to 800 yards of line each. So that'll pay for itself in terms of time and money. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll be glad to try to help you out as much as possible. I didn't really have plans for this, kind of built it on the fly. You know, that's what you get from this. I'm sure there's other things I could have done that would have made it a little bit better. So if you have suggestions, feel free to give them to me. I'm not really a person that takes offense. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.